Are you Matthew Aldridge?
I'm the attorney of fact for Matthew Aldridge.
You were what?
The attorney of fact.
Attorney what?
Of fact.
Attorney of fact. And what does that mean?
You know, his authorization to do legal representation.
Are you a licensed attorney?
No, I'm simply an attorney of fact.
Okay. And does that mean you have a power of attorney? What is your name? What is your name?
All right, everyone, today's court hearing is absolutely off the rails. We've got a man identified as Matthew Aldridge, at least that's what the documents say, but the person standing at the podium is insisting he has no name and calls himself the attorney in fact. Now, for the record, that's not a legitimate legal title in this context. This is classic sovereign citizen behavior, claiming the court has no authority over them. But here's the truth, jurisdiction applies to everyone within the court's reach, no exceptions. The judge isn't having any of it and completely shuts him down in the most brilliant way possible. Trust me, the way this ends, you'll see exactly who's in control of that courtroom. Let's get into it.
My name?
Yes, sir.
I don't have.
You don't have a name? Pardon?
I'm the attorney of fact for the respondent mayor.
Well, let me explain to you. Only an attorney at law can stand in court and represent a criminal defendant. And to do so otherwise violates the criminal law statutes of the state of Tennessee and could land someone who attempts to represent themselves as an attorney at law in serious trouble. I understand what you're saying. I understand you're saying an attorney in fact. And what I want you to understand is that if you have a power of attorney, then you need to demonstrate that power of attorney. Do you have a legal document called a power of attorney?
No, I do not at this time.
Okay. Then you don't have any authority to act on behalf of Matthew Aldridge in this court. You have no legal authority, nor do you have any authority through a legal document to represent or to act on behalf of Matthew Aldridge.
Why don't we court just let me file this document?
Show it to the bailiff and he'll show it to me. Apparently there's a copy here.
I mean, this part is just unbelievable. The guy is calling himself an attorney in fact, and to prove it, he literally hands the judge a random piece of paper. You didn't miss much, it was basically quoting a made-up law that supposedly gives him the right to represent Matthew Aldridge. For the record, real attorneys are licensed by the state and must follow legitimate legal procedures, not this DIY, one-page fantasy version of the law. Sovereign citizens like this guy always love to argue about jurisdiction as if declaring themselves above the law somehow works. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Courts operate under established legal authority, not imaginary statutes pulled from thin air. And this judge? He's not here to entertain that nonsense for a second. Honestly, is this sovereign citizen movement actually growing, or am I just cursed to keep finding these wild cases? Let me know what you think in the comments.
All right. Well, I find that Matthew Neal Aldridge has failed to appear personally in this court for the plea day on his case, which is set for trial tomorrow. And as a result, you have no standing, sir, under what I know what you're trying to do is to try to use the sovereign citizen approach to this situation. And I'm simply telling you that you do not have the right to represent Matthew Neal Aldridge. If you are, in fact, Matthew Neal Aldridge, then you need to say so and stop this nonsense, because what you're attempting to do has no legal effect. You cannot challenge the criminal law or the jurisdiction of this court by simply filing some legal mumbo jumbo having to do with civil litigation. That has civil litigation in it. It is not a criminal case that you have cited. So it has no effect on this court regarding the criminal statutes of this court. This court is empowered under the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, and by the duly elected citizens of Cheatham County to empower and enforce the laws of the state of Tennessee. And that is what I'm going to do regarding Matthew Lynn Aldridge. Mr. Aldridge is set for today to appear in court personally on what we call our last plea day before his trial date tomorrow.
Question. Is that an Article 3 trial?
To what?
Would that be a article pre-trial, a trial by jury with jury?
It would be a trial by jury, certainly it would be. But I don't know who you are. And I don't think you have any authority if you are not Matthew Lynn Aldridge to appear before this court. And you're wasting valuable time to all of these other citizens who are here today. So when I'm talking, you stop talking. No, you will when I'm finished talking. You are wasting the court's time by doing this, and I'm just simply instructing you that if you are in fact Matthew Lynn Aldridge, then this is your last day to settle your case. The trial date is set for tomorrow, and unfortunately, it will not go forward because of the fact that I have a conflict and I have to be in Stewart County on a civil matter. So we're going to assign a new trial date for Matthew Lynn Aldridge. All right. To Matthew Aldridge and the individual standing before me whose name must not be uttered.
This judge is handling the situation like an absolute pro. He stays calm, composed, and completely in control while shutting this guy down at every turn. The so-called attorney of fact barely got a sentence out before the judge dismantled his nonsense point by point. You can tell the judge has probably dealt with this kind of sovereign citizen circus before. He wasn't having any of it. And honestly, that moment when the defendant said he can't utter his name, and the judge just went along with it? That cracked me up. Judges are usually stoic, barely showing emotion, but this one clearly had enough. From the start, it was obvious he wasn't going to waste a second of his courtroom's time on this absurd act. At the end of the day, it just proves how futile and ridiculous these stunts really are. No matter how much legal jargon they invent, the law doesn't bend for fantasy.
Then we will set a July 15th trial date for Mr. Aldridge. Whatever this document is that you have filed is in fact invalid because it does not cite any valid criminal statute, and therefore I'm denying whatever that might be in the way of a motion. The trial date will be July 15th. The last day for Mr. Aldridge to enter a plea or go to trial will be July the 8th. July the 8th. Now, we're going to give you a card. If you are in fact Matthew Aldridge and you're just playing games with the court regarding this nonsense that you filed, then you may get this card and you may go on about your business. If you are not Matthew Aldridge, then I would suggest to you, you relay to Mr. Aldridge that he must appear on July the 8th, or a bond revocation will take place, and his case will be will take place with him in jail, incarcerated on the 15th. That's the judgment of the court. You need to take your piece of paper and go on about your business.
Sovereign citizens are truly something else. These are people who genuinely believe they can opt out of the legal system just by claiming they don't recognize the government's authority. They'll start talking about things like common law or the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, completely misunderstanding how those laws actually work. Just to be clear, courts operate under federal, state, and local laws that have been in place for centuries and are backed by the Constitution. There's no secret loophole that lets you decide the rules don't apply to you. Yet, these folks flood courtrooms with bizarre arguments, wasting everyone's time and accomplishing nothing, except maybe earning themselves a criminal record. Legally speaking, the entire sovereign citizen defense collapses because of one key concept: jurisdiction. Courts have authority over anyone within their geographic area, no matter what pseudo-legal jargon someone tries to use. Judges have heard every version of this nonsense, and they don't entertain it for a second. And for anyone wondering, trying to dodge taxes or beat a speeding ticket using these tactics doesn't just fail, it can actually lead to harsher penalties for wasting the court's time. Honestly, I'll never understand why people keep trying this. Do they really think they're outsmarting the system, or is it just some strange form of rebellion? Either way, it's ridiculous, and kind of sad. Anyway, that's going to wrap up my breakdown for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know what you think about the whole sovereign citizen movement. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.